Welcome to the Gamer Recaps. Today, I'll be showing you a 2003 action-adventure video game called The Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. You play as the prince, who's a son of the king Shahraman. You are traveling from Persia to Azad, passing through India, when you encounter the vizier, the advisor to the Maharaja. The vizier convinces Shahraman to attack the Maharaja's kingdom, promising him honor and glory. You are wary of the vizier and the idea of attacking a peaceful kingdom, but your father is eager to prove himself and agrees to the plan. Before dawn, Shahraman and his army attack the Maharaja's kingdom, with the vizier reminding Shahraman of his promise and the possibility of finding the Maharaja's treasure vaults within the kingdom's walls. Eager to impress your father, you ride ahead to enter the palace but are thrown from your horse, just as the entrance crumbles. You narrowly avoid being crushed by falling debris and are knocked unconscious. When you come to, you find yourself alone, surrounded by rubble and chaos. You hear your father's men trying to break down large double doors, but they are killed by a catapult attack that barricades the door with more debris. Despite the danger, you continue to push forward until you reach the top of the treasure vault, where you spot the glowing dagger on the other side of the vault's wall. Inadvertently, you discover that the dagger has the power to control time when you witness falling debris above you move in reverse, allowing you to dodge it before time is restored to its normal flow. You steal the dagger and make your way back to your father's army, who had successfully taken the hourglass as a prize for the Sultan of Azad. The vizier, who had betrayed the Maharaja by aiding King Shahraman in exchange for a share of the spoils, was dying and demanded to have the dagger. He had been promised his choice of the Maharaja's treasures, but Shahraman refused to let him take the dagger of time from you, because you had captured it first and claimed it as your rightful reward. During your departure from the Maharaja's kingdom, Farah, his daughter, was taken prisoner along with several other women. Despite the victory, you knew that you had acted wrongly in attacking the Maharaja's peaceful kingdom, and were troubled by the corruptive influence of the vizier. As you journeyed on to Azad, you resolved to find a way to make things right and put an end to the vizier's treachery. At the palace of Azad, Shahraman presented the spoils of his conquest to his friend, the Sultan, and used the Sands of Time as a way to show gratitude toward the alliance between Persia and Azad. The Sultan was fascinated by the seemingly enchanted sand that glowed in the hourglass and inquired about its nature. The vizier described the Sands of Time as a marvel no living man has seen and played on your and Shahraman's pride by suggesting that you use the dagger of time to open the hourglass and free the Sands of Time. Despite Farah's frantic attempts to stop you, you step forward and insert the dagger inside the hourglass of time. As a result, the sands are freed from the hourglass, and the vizier is using his staff to manipulate them. The sands are beginning to transform everyone in the room except you and the vizier. The vizier is demanding that you give him the dagger so that he can undo what he has done, but you refuse and escape the Sultan's throne room before it is blocked by debris. The Sands of Time are quickly transforming all living things in the kingdom into sand creatures. Farah is managing to escape the throne room with other members of the Sultan's court but choosing to remain behind. During the fight, you are beginning to discover the abilities that come with using the weapon against the sand creatures. The Sands of Time have left their transformative mark on all living beings except for 3 who bear special artifacts. You with your dagger of time, the vizier with his staff, and Farah with her medallion. Despite your efforts to catch up to Farah, she remains elusive until you finally follow her outside the palace walls, where you witness 2 majestic sand birds soaring towards the Tower of Dawn, carrying with them the hourglass of time. You deduce that the vizier has plotted to kill you using the dagger of time, leading you to return to the palace's lower level. However, Farah intercepts you and insists that you surrender the dagger so she can undo your actions. You are wary of her intentions and believe her to be no different from the treacherous vizier who once served her father. Together, Farah and you defeat the sand creatures until only the Maharaja remains. Once you defeat his father, you decide to team up with Farah to use the dagger of time to restore the sands to the hourglass. Throughout your journey to the Tower of Dawn, you and Farah depend on each other and use your unique abilities to progress. As you spend more time together, your relationship becomes more genuine and less guarded, and you begin to develop feelings for Farah. Despite this, Farah remains determined to reach the tower and instructs you on how to use the hourglass to capture the sands of time. But at a crucial moment, you hesitate due to your own doubts, and bring up Farah's past grievances against you. This hesitation allows the vizier to attack you both with the sands of time, and you choose to save Farah instead of retrieving the dagger. The two of you fall into a dark tomb and believe you have lost the battle. In this dark and cramped space, Farah reveals a secret word her mother used to open a hidden doorway, acclaim. Although you initially scoff at Farah's story, you find yourself following a hidden passage in search of her after she disappears. The passage leads you down a winding staircase to a circular room with a fountain at its center. Despite being repeatedly called by Farah, you cannot locate her until you learn to follow the sound of water. You discover Farah bathing in an illuminated bath and join her, unaware that you have been tricked into removing your sword and the dagger of time from your person. The two of you become intimate, but you question whether it was real or just a dream when you wake up back in the tomb. You realize too late that Farah has taken your sword and the dagger of time and has left the medallion of time behind. You get another sword and hurry to catch up with Farah. When you find her, she is under attack by sand generals and is knocked over the ledge above the hourglass of time. You manage to catch the blade of the dagger, preventing Farah from falling, but she decides to let go of the dagger and falls to her death. You fight the remaining sand creatures, but unfortunately, it's too late to save Farah. You descend into the final sand vortex and experience the vision of the places you and Farah had traveled together. When you reach the bottom, you mourn Farah's death before the vizier arrives and offers you immortality, which you refuse. Overcome with anger, you use the dagger to initiate a grand rewind, sending the sands back to the hourglass and resetting the timeline to a point before the attack on the Maharaja's palace. Although you retain the dagger, you are the only one who remembers your past experiences with Farah. You travel to the palace and enter Farah's bedroom, where she is startled by your sudden appearance. You reveal that you have the dagger, and warn her of the vizier's plans before the sands are released. Just as you finish your tale, the vizier enters the room, intending to kill Farah and frame you for the murder. You fight off the vizier's illusions, while Farah watches in horror. When the vizier is weakened, you are able to defeat him. You then offer the dagger to Farah, but instead of explaining how you acquired it, you kiss her. Farah rejects your advances and you rewind time to before the kiss. You agree with Farah that your account of the vizier's treachery was just a story, and she asks you for your name. Before you leave, you tell her to call you acclaim, which is her mother's secret word that only she would know. Farah is left speechless as you depart, and so, the game ends. Thanks for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel.